So for the past couple of friendly games, we've had a new face around in the squad. Best known as Trialist D, he scored off the bench against Aldershot, then came on off the bench again to impress versus Wealdstone. Now, the amateur detectives, who also found out about Lowe, have found out that this is Richard Kone, and he has a story perhaps unlike anybody else. So, when he was 17, he was kicked out of his house due to being gay, and he played for the Ivory Coast in the 2019 Cardiff World Cup for homeless people, which is a very exceptional story. Then he trained with Colchester, where he impressed. However, Hayden Mullen, the Colchester manager at the time, said, and I quote, Richard is no longer with us. He's gone on trial to a Premier League club. He's now at Athletic Newsome in the Essex Senior Football League in Step 5, where he has scored an astounding 82 goals in 2 seasons. He is a young man with bags of potential, and he only turned 20 in July 15th. So, who is Richard Kone, and what may he bring to Wycombe Wanderers if he signs? So, I was at the match versus Wealdstone, and I was very impressed by his movement and passing ability. I thought he was very good against them. He was strong, he got into good spaces, he was able to find Dowell Horgan in particular with a lot of good passes, his movement was good. The one thing I'd say is his fitness was a concern, but he is currently playing at a completely amateur level. And if we bring him up to become a professional player, I have no doubts that his fitness will improve over time. The same way with many other players we've had, Andrew Mametti, Chris Frino Joseph. There's a period of transition as you work towards a senior full-time team, but I have no doubts he'll be able to do that. But I wasn't there at Aldershot, so I cannot speak about that. So I asked George of the Wycombe Way to send me a short clip about what he thought of Richard Kone.
I think what's important to point out first of all is that Bloomfield used Richard in two different ways in the two games that we've seen him playing. I can only assume to sort of see what he can do in two different systems. At Aldershot, there was a few more long balls, and Richard looked a little bit slow. That's not a bad thing, of course, but it showed that playing over the top for him to chase is not one of his strengths. I think at Wealdstone on Tuesday night, it was much more to his feet, a little bit deeper, and then he really sort of flourished with the ball at his feet, almost the way Uche did. You know, he's sort of 6'2" from a distance. Richard, obviously, Uche a little bit higher, a little bit taller. But there's sort of the same qualities there of good retention of the ball with their feet. You know, it looks like he could be a hold-up play. And, you know, you look at his numbers, I'm sure DJ's mentioned it already, but his numbers over the last 2 seasons, regardless of the level, are superb. And I suppose he offers a little bit of a different dynamic to everyone we've got at the minute. Maybe a bit more similar to Vokes in the fact that he's a hold-up striker. He's not going to chase balls in behind. But then he's clearly got an eye for goal, and I suppose he is a little bit quick with the ball in a way that some Vokes isn't. So although he's similar in a way, there's also differences there, and he will give Wycombe another option should we sign him. And you know, it's a really exciting signing. The last time we had a signing similar to that was probably Dale Southwell. You know, that one didn't go too well. But Richard, you know, he's got a lot of plaudits in the lower leagues, in non-league football. Really impressed at Colchester by the sounds of it. And you know, if we can get the issues that have stopped him making a good move already sorted, then we'll have a really good player on our hands. So to sum it up, really, doesn't really like a ball over the top. Much better with his feet coming short and playing off. But yeah, you know, really excited to see what happens for him. Hopefully, we see him in the future as well.
Thank you, George. So as he mentioned, he does offer something completely and utterly different, I believe. He would perhaps complement Sam Vokes, Dale Taylor, Brandon Hanlon, or TJ DeBar up front, so I think it would be an excellent addition. George did mention issues, so I believe one of the reasons why Colchester didn't sign him was work permit issues. However, he's been in the country for a number of years now, and Wycombe Wanderers have previous in getting work permits, most notably with TJ DeBar. So I do not believe it is impossible we could be able to get a work permit for what is a very, very exciting youngster, especially with work permit rules for international players being relaxed in the EFL to allow players like Richard Kone to come in the league and show their quality. So we should be able to do that. Now, I feel very strongly that this is an excellent signing. I am bisexual myself, and it would be, I think, absolutely amazing to have an openly gay player play for Wycombe Wanderers. I think that is something that is absolutely invaluable, and I think it would really, really spurn the club to try and become a leader in terms of football in LGBT rights. It's difficult at the moment. We see Jordan Henderson left to go to Saudi Arabia when he was probably England's biggest football player in terms of supporting LGBT rights. So he took money from Saudi Arabia to play in Saudi Arabia, a government that executes people for being gay. So it's difficult. But don't forget, Wycombe has a history in actually being very good with LGBT issues. Matt Bloomfield, our current manager, was the first football player to sign the government's homophobia charter against homophobia back in 2012. And it would just make me extraordinarily proud to sing his name in the terrace. And to see him score a goal would just be absolutely amazing, I think. Not just for the club, but for LGBT people who love football, who want to see somebody they can support, somebody like them in football. So I think that's very important in that aspect. But it's lucky as well because not only does he bring that aspect, I actually think he could be a fantastic, fantastic player. Looking at him against Wealdstone and the way he performed, as George mentioned, against Aldershot, I think he could be a very good player. We have prior way of bringing good young players from the non-league and making them into very good players. We've done it with Anish Mehmeti. We did it with TJ DeBar, came from Gibraltar. We did it with Chris Joseph, came from Loughborough University. Others include Woodhouse still at the club, McHoley still at the club, Declan Skura still at the club. So I see no reason why he could not be an excellent addition to this team. I don't think he'd be starting every game, but I think he will give, as George said, give us something different. Give us somebody off the bench who can change a game. He knows where the net is, and that's something that is really nice to have. So I really, really like this signing. I'm really, really excited to see him play. Let me know what you all think. But otherwise, Wanderers, have a great day.